Hi guys, welcome back to Ajdani Brothers podcast. Today we have a very, very, very special guest for you guys. His name is none other than Daniel Marsh. If you're on YouTube or on Instagram or social media in general, you probably know him. So we're so happy to have you here, Daniel.
Thank you so much,
Welcome.
Sam and Tohid. It's great to see you guys after. Well, I saw you a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
But it's great to see you guys here in your studio and back together again in 2023 after a number of months. So yeah, it's good
Thank
to
you
be
for
here.
coming.
Thank you so much for being here.
No worries. Yeah, it's good to just hang out and chill and do a podcast. Why not?
Yeah. Actually, we were talking a while ago, right?
Yeah,
Prior to
podcast
starting
worthy
this
stuff.
Podcast. So you missed that part.
Yeah.
30 minutes of interesting
Yeah.
conversation.
We've been catching up.
Yeah.
So maybe you would like to share something about yourself to the audience that they don't, the ones that don't know you.
So what is there to share about me? No, basically, I'm half Filipino. My mom is Cebuana and my dad is Irish. And I came here many, many years ago. Actually, first time was in 2006. So I first fell in love with the Philippines, and I was like, wow, this place is a lot better than Ireland because it rains a lot and it's cold, and I don't like that. So I'm gonna stay here in the Philippines. Back in 2012, I started to say, why not film all the adventures across the Philippines? Because I did a lot of traveling, and I wanted to document that for my family and my friends, because back then YouTube wasn't that big. So I started a channel with my friends, Charlie and all them. I don't know if you know those or remember them. Yeah, you remember them? All right, cool. Yeah, so we started a channel called IMA, and we did a bit of content there, and then we got a TV show on TV5 called One Direction, which is a terrible name. I don't know who thought of that, but yeah, we did that TV
Isn't
show.
there an existing One Direction?
One Direction. That was the Philippine version of One
Filipino version of Juan Direction.
Juan
Juan
Direction.
Direction.
Yeah, gotcha.
So we did that TV show for a while, and we worked on TV for a couple of years. And then we had a guest on our show called Will Dasovich, and because of that, he started vlogging. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to try vlogging and do the daily stuff. And in 2016, I started vlogging alongside Will for my own channel. We worked as a team because it's very hard to vlog together.
Yeah.
When you vlog alone, it's very hard to vlog alone, because when you vlog alone, it's like just people looking at you. It's hard to come up with content. So, it's better to have a buddy. And me and Will became the buddies that would rise by lifting each other almost. And so I've been doing that since 2016, and it's been fun and eventful ever since.
Interesting.
Yeah, because vlogging takes a lot of creativity, right?
Yeah.
And you need someone there to bounce back ideas. And Will Dasovich, I'm sure
Yeah,
you guys
yeah,
are really
yeah,
good
yeah,
friends.
yeah,
So
100%. I mean, me and Will, Will's a very hardworking guy, and he kind of inspired me to like do that hustle kind of thing back then when it was necessary. Of course, I wouldn't want to do that again, because the daily vlog era was horrible, because we used to sleep like 3 or 4 hours a night.
Yeah, because you have to edit it, and the editing takes a long time, right?
Yeah. Like this took this is like the Casey Neistat. You ever see Casey?
Yeah.
That was like where he was the influence. So
Everyday vlog.
every day, bro. So what we did was we'd like make a video, you'd fall asleep, and then you'd wake up and you'd shoot another video, then you edit and you fall asleep again. And then sometimes you have brand deals and you can't release this video on the same day, so you have to like do another vlog at night for release the next day. And it was grueling, but you got the following at the start anyway.
So it paid off.
It did pay off, yes.
How long did you do that for? Like every
Daily
day?
vlog, 6 months, 7 months straight in
my God.
2017. And then I just gave up doing it every day. I did like 5 days a week after that.
So what do you recommend to the people who want to start vlogging now?
It was hard. I mean, now the algorithm's changing because of Mr. Beast. If you look at like Mr. Beast style content,
He reinvents everything.
Because back in the Casey Neistat day, it was more about quantity over quality, and he would put in quality based on his like daily life and his life structure. But if you did a consistent video every day, the thumbnail and title will get you in the search algorithm. So one of the videos will eventually blow up, and then through that you'll get an audience, and then you keep going, and another video will eventually blow up. But now it's a little bit harder because the algorithm prefers watch time. So how long the viewer watches your video. That's the number one thing that you should aim for is viewer attention and watch time. So keeping them sticking on your video is what's important.
I have a question. So is that why some YouTube channels are split into two or three. For example, long format podcasts. They
Yeah.
always have another channel where they put in the shorter content.
Mm.
Let's say they break it down
Yeah.
to 5-6 videos.
Yeah.
Because if the long one doesn't get as much watch time,
The
then it
algorithm
will
switches over
destroy
to the other one.
ones.
Yeah. So if you do like some of my friends have two channels, one for just daily random vlogs that you can just throw out. Number one, you keep yourself relevant because you can throw out anything. So you can do the quantity element, and if it doesn't work with the algorithm, you still have your long form content which can grow on itself. So yeah, some people do two channels because if you did everything in one channel, then it will affect the algorithm, and then you'll kind of like taper off. So that's actually an optimal idea to do different channels.
Yeah, because I saw more and more people coming up with 2, 3, 4 channels.
A couple of years ago, I was like, why would you do that? Just put everything in one
'cause
channel.
all your subscribers are there in that main channel.
Yeah. But actually, the funny thing is, what I notice is, even if you have so many subscribers, they don't all get to see your stuff. It's really weird. Like, most of my views are from like just YouTube recommendations, not my own subscribers, which is crazy. I think they give you a little boost initially. You have a few thousand loyal fans that will watch your stuff. But then after a while, the YouTube algorithm puts it into the search feed or the explore page, or the home page, and then suggests it to people based on that. Yeah, but that's for me. I don't know about everyone. Everyone's different, right?
So we have to separate our long form podcast from the short clips.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
A lot of work, because the short clip is 4 or 5 minutes and somebody might watch 3 minutes of that. That means 75% watch time. But if you go to the long podcast, which is 2 hours, and somebody watches 15 minutes of that, that means what? 10%, whatever.
Yeah.
And then
Somewhere
there is
around
the
those
short format too, like YouTube Shorts.
YouTube Shorts, which I haven't even used yet.
It's crazy.
I
It
haven't
gets a
even
lot of
used it
views,
yet because I don't know how to optimize it for what I do. I mean, of course I should do it, but I don't know, maybe OCD. I probably can convert in a few months as I go along, but
But YouTube short gets views.
I know, yeah.
Gets views,
It really does. It's basically an evolution of what TikTok did to everything. It's catching the kids' attention spans or people's quick need for information, little dopamine hits.
It's limited to 1 minute though, I think. Right?
Yeah.
What do you think is the main difference from back then when you started and now?
The biggest difference then was it was new back then. For example, also marketers didn't really pick up on it as much as now. So it wasn't really a career back then. It was more of a hobby.
Yeah.
And because it was a hobby, you'd look at it like you'd take it more genuinely. And then over time, marketers saw the importance of attention and eyeballs. So they they started putting their yearly ad expenditure into influencers and stuff like that. And then influencer marketing became born. But then what you're seeing now is a lot of companies are starting to notice that, just like the way back in the day when you watch a TV commercial, you funnel out. So you're going to find a lot of marketers know that when you're watching a YouTube video by a vlogger and he doesn't actually ever represent a brand. Imagine you saw a random gamer representing a running brand. I mean, he's not exactly optimal for that market.
Yeah.
However, back in 2018, they just throw it out to every person with views, right? So now they're focusing more on targeting specific people that are like really good at what they do. So it's definitely different. The market is different. And also the level of fame is interesting because there's a new star every week. There's a new star every week. Yeah.
Well, what is the platform that contributes to that? TikTok.
TikTok. Yeah. So TikTok, I feel like TikTok just.
Daniel is a big fan of the TikTok.
He loves TikTok. He was just telling us how
I
much
am
he loves TikTok.
non-biased. I am neutral with everything because it's just the way evolution is, right?
Yeah.
You just adopt or die. But no, I understand the necessary. I mean, I understand how it evolves because people's attention spans are getting lower and lower, and it's just the perfect addictive element to create content.
Yeah.
You know. So of course it'll get popular, but again, if you're like a brand or a person trying to vlog, you got to understand that TikTok in and of itself, it's very hard to maintain the fame over a couple of years, like 5 years, 6 years. And when I say fame, I don't mean like being famous. I mean, what's your end goal? If you want to have for example, if you want to build a vlog and you're doing dog training, for example, you want to build a dog brand, dog food or whatever, you want to create a brand and sell it to your audience. You don't need to have millions of views on TikTok to be able to sell. You just need a genuine amount of fans within your sphere. So what's that book that was, or a blog article that was written, 1,000 true fans is all
can
you
make you
need,
millions,
because
yeah,
through word of
yeah.
mouth, it can grow.
Yeah.
So if you keep that mentality, I feel, then you'll succeed. You just got to remember that all of these things are just, they're just like little platforms and ways to get to what you envision for your future.
It's crazy when you browse TikTok and you look at all these users having like 500K, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million, 15 million followers.
Yeah.
And you could just tell by browsing their profile, they don't know how to monetize it.
Exactly. Yeah.
They
yeah.
don't know how to monetize it. Like there are girls, guys with 2, 3 million followers, but when you go through the content, you know they're not monetizing it.
I mean, it's fascinating because like it's kind of an interesting world when you look at like a lot of like small companies or medium companies. They have a great product or a great brand, but they don't know how to market it.
Yeah.
And then you have some great content creators who don't know how to monetize their channel.
Very
it's
true,
like,
yeah.
there must be a way to bridge the two, right? I'm sure there will be eventually, but, and probably is now. But yeah, it's interesting because I've always believed that, because my first passion is creating content, and I love it and I'll do it just for me, not even, well, obviously I want people to see it. But because of that, then it kind of comes true with the content that I create. But I've always thought of it like, well, if you have this amount of attention, and ever I create a product that's legitimately good, then I'll be able to sell it properly, right? So I never had to worry about that as a marketing thing. But there's a lot of people that just don't understand that. They don't understand that those 10,000 views, like I have friends who get 10 to 30,000 views and they're just starting on YouTube and they think that they're still bad.
Yeah.
They don't feel like they're successful, even though because they don't have 10,000 subscribers. And I'm telling them like, dude, that's 10,000 people that looked at your video. That's a lot of people.
That's a lot, yeah.
We forget how lucky we are in this world.
Yeah.
So yeah, no matter what your success rate is, if you've gotten over like 100 views or more or less or whatever, it doesn't matter. Just keep going and build your following and it'll come.
And I think what you touched upon there is really important, that a lot of them have fame for like 3 years, 4 years. It's hard to sustain it.
It's
so
very
you
hard.
need to have a strategy in place.
Do you have to
so you
like
can
reinvent
monetize it.
yourself?
I think not. Well, it depends. I mean, of course, it depends on the kind of YouTube channel that you created from the start, right? For me, which is like a personal kind of channel, semi-personal, obviously you have to hide a little bit of your private life. I kind of reinvent myself through my own reinvention of life,
Yeah.
because it's my day,
Yeah.
my life. But of course, yeah, I'm sure you'd have to reinvent yourself just as many brands do to maintain relevance. Yeah, I guess you do in certain ways as well. I mean, reinventing yourself is a kind of a broad word, more like you have to adapt with the platforms properly and efficiently, right?
Yeah.
And even I haven't optimized that. It's so hard. Like, and if, yeah, like right now I have this thing in place. It's like a general strategy. Okay, I'm going to work on all the platform content model, like the Gary Vee content model you probably saw years ago.
Everywhere.
Yeah. I'm going to focus on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. Yeah,
That's like 12 posts a day or
I
something.
know,
yeah.
optimize. And I was like, you know what? This is fucking hard.
You need a team for
You
that.
need a
Yeah, I
team,
know. You
yeah.
need to delegate,
Yeah.
bro. So I was like, I'll just focus on YouTube. And then if Facebook gets a little bit of it, okay, Facebook. Facebook's actually underrated.
yeah.
It's really good.
The
Like
organic reach is good, right? On
crazy.
Facebook. Yeah.
I'm really gonna have to figure out about optimizing my Facebook. I want to like maybe create a vlog. Like say I release tomorrow, and then the next week I'll release the same vlog on Facebook. Something like that, maybe.
Yeah, because the market of the Philippines, they use Facebook a lot.
They do.
And I've seen like let's say on Facebook For You page, right?
Yeah.
I see vloggers there, their videos get a lot of views, like millions
it's
of
long.
views. Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
long, maybe
Yeah,
like
yeah.
11 to 20 minutes.
Facebook's the same as YouTube, essentially. I mean, like it's a little bit more complicated because of like there's so much things going on Facebook, but you can target the hell out of people on Facebook. So it is really valuable for brands now, anyway. So I'm going to really work on my Facebook strategy there. So YouTube, Facebook's the priorities. Obviously TikTok, but I prefer Instagram Reels because it's more cinematic and more my thing.
Yeah.
And then I just repurpose them for
TikTok now you
TikTok.
can upload 10 minutes, right? Is
Really?
it 10 minutes or 15 minutes?
I think 10.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah. 10
Yeah,
minutes.
TikTok's scary because you don't know if it's going to get banned or not. You don't know, like,
Yeah.
what the future, like, because the whole China-America division
Mm.
thing, it's crazy. So we'll see, I guess.
You know, it's funny, he said, just going back, you said back then vlogging wasn't a thing. Just a backstory. I think I was in a casting we used to model, right? For everyone who
Yeah,
doesn't
back
know.
in the
Yeah.
day.
Back in the
I
day
know
when
Sam
we were
for a
younger.
long time. We're old men now.
Yeah, I saw Will, and we were like, "Oh, what's your plan? What are you gonna do after modeling and these things?" And then this whole conversation came up, and he said, "I want to be a vlogger. I'm already vlogging. I want to vlog something along these lines."
Yeah.
And I was like looking at him. What is vlogging?
Yeah.
I was saying,
Nobody
"What is
knew. Yeah.
on YouTube? I want to vlog on YouTube."
Yeah.
I was just like
Back
looked
then,
at
that was
him.
2015 probably.
Yeah.
And I think back then it was called vlogging, not
Yeah.
even vlogging. There was a word vlog, video log. Yeah.
And in my head, I was like, "Okay, good luck."
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but okay.
We probably got to know vlogging from you guys, you and Will. Like,
Yeah,
before
yeah.
that, we
Will
didn't
was
know.
like one of the first to do the daily vlogging, the
Yeah.
nice that style vlogging. When he started doing it, I was like, what is he doing? He's just vlogging his daily life. This is crazy. But the thing is, I saw how hard he works. I've never seen a person hustle so hard in the flesh, you know? You heard about it on the internet, but back then it was like not so, like not now, where just hustle culture has become almost like a cult. But back then it was like, I physically saw a person hustle.
So what was his motivation?
Oh,
Or
what's
like-
anyone's motivation? Just to be successful in life, I
Successful,
guess.
yeah.
Success and the opportunities that come with that. But then again, going back to what I was saying about hustle, it's funny because I really subscribe to that hustle culture, and I believe that nothing else prevailed over it in 2016, 2017. I thought your sum total of your worth is how much work you do. How much you don't need to sleep that much. You got to hustle and work and grind. And now, when the pandemic happened, it gave me a lot of time to think inwards, because I realized that at the pace I was going, the content I was producing wasn't like necessarily what I wanted, but I was just hustling my way through the content to get the views. And then it wasn't. There's the thing that you could be logical about, but then there's like a part of your heart or something like that you're not doing it for you, and that's when you inevitably end up with burnout.
Yeah.
And
Was that the
burnout's a
time
bitch.
that you stopped for a while?
I
'Cause
stopped for a
remember-
year.
yeah,
Yeah. I got so fed up with creating the same crappy content, like just clickbait headlines, and the views would go up and down, and your life was like based on that. So I stopped for a year. I went to Europe. I lived in Europe for like 10 months, and I just wanted a different kind of perspective. And in Europe, you're just starting again almost, and it's like you get to meet all these different people who aren't in vlogging, who aren't in your bubble, and you start seeing the world from a different perspective. And I can't say it's like I climbed a mountain like a Buddhist and found myself, but it was nice to be able to take a break from what you do and see a different perspective, So that's why I feel that was important to me. And now I can come back in my content and say, okay, I just want to do the best that I can do within what I can do,
So is that the dark side of vlogging or content creation in general?
Oh, there's many dark sides.
Yes,
Yeah,
let's
talk
talk
about
about the
the
dark
dark
side.
side.
Many dark
The
sides.
views and the likes.
Yeah.
I think most people know that, but let's jump into that and then share
This
it
is
to
a good
us.
title, The
Yeah.
Dark Side of Vlogging.
The dark side of
Yeah.
vlogging. Content
with
creation.
Daniel Marsh. So there's many dark sides to vlogging. I mean, like anything, there's dark sides to every kind of career or opportunity we do. There's advantages and disadvantages to anything. I think with vlogging, it's like if you showcase your entire life on a platform, you're bound to get criticism within that,
Right.
the options you take in that life. And you may think you have thick skin, but over time, those chip away at you like 1,000 cuts. And it affects your opinion of your viewers. It affects your opinion of yourself. And no matter how hard you think about it, you think you can fight that, it'll eventually get to you. Every YouTube, like, why do you see so many YouTube vloggers, right, that like they have a relationship and their entire vlog was made on their relationship, and then they break up, and then they end up in a scenario where the people start talking about it, the chismis comes in, the
nonstop,
marites comes in.
Especially here.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And that's not, I mean, it's hard to deal with that, I mean, over time. So my aspect is, remember that it is creative work, but also it's work, and you should know to separate your, like, certain elements of your life away from that part. So yeah, if you open your life up to the world, you're going to be bound for criticism. That criticism can break you eventually. And if you add the dramatic elements of your life in the vlog, seemingly dramatic things to you, that can also go wrong as well, because, you might get criticized for it, and you might get canceled. And then when you're also doing the vlogs constantly, you kind of don't know what will get you cancelled or what will get you views. So you just get swept away with making content. And you'll end up like Logan Paul when he was doing daily, and then he filmed someone in a suicide forest, which was retarded. But
And he was laughing about it.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
Yeah.
But they get swept up in doing the content that everything else, like even integrity and
Disappears,
value
yeah.
and
Yeah.
discipline, disappear out the window. So for me, it's all about just creating short films almost that I really like in a specific topic. So yeah, that's what I want to go for. But yeah, there's many dark sides to it. Also the work ethic. A lot of people say that I want to be self-employed, or I want to be a vlogger or a YouTuber and whatever, and I want to skip my 9 to 5 job and do this. But I'm like, dude, okay, well, if you want to do that, you're not doing 9 to 5, you're doing 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Because even when you're like resting, you're thinking about your work.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys understand,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. It's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard. But when you're into creative work, it's hard, especially if you're doing it all by yourself. Because
Yeah.
for sure, you being a good editor that you are, I've seen your work. You edit videos perfectly. You cannot just delegate it to someone else, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to, at some point, you have to micromanage that person. So again, your energy is going there.
Exactly. Like I could have gotten an editor a couple of months ago or even a couple of years ago, but every time I worked with editors before and they're great, and it's great to see editors, but like you have to explain to them how to do the very basic stuff, and that basic stuff could take me an hour to do.
Yeah.
So it's quicker to do it for myself than it would be to
Yeah.
give it an editor. Then you have to like put them on Google Drive, transfer them. I was like, no, it's just I don't need an editor. Because if I get an editor to do the basic stuff, then it's just not my vlog, is it? So, and I guess my identity is inherent to editing. Of course, that wouldn't be the case for everybody, because I mean, if I didn't enjoy the editing process, then I would totally delegate it to someone else.
Because your work is very cinematic.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it's based on editing and story structure. That's what I really want to work on more. Like I've been looking at like literary devices and filmmaking and screenwriting, story structure, and I want to figure out ways to optimize and apply that to the vlog. So if you look at my videos lately, it's just me trying to make the best story I can. You introduce the protagonist, have a conflict or what are the stakes, develop a kind of a hero's journey kind of thing with a conclusion and a verified conclusion. If it's a country I go to or a city, I go, what's the best element I can find? Oh, the city itself. What's the history of the city? What's the story behind it? The story behind all the little people and the details, and then start with an intro, midpoint, and then come to a general conclusion. And that's what I try to do as best as I can. So
Nice.
it's pretty fun. It's like a advanced puzzle. So
Do you create conflict on purpose sometimes?
so that's the thing when there's drama. Conflict on purpose, no, because depends. No, I'd never, because I'm not really like that. I don't really.
But a lot of people here do that.
They do conflict on purpose. They
call out each other. They
Oh,
bash
that
each
stuff?
other.
Oh, no, yeah, that
that's
shit-
been happening nonstop.
But that's just like, those are all like fast food levels of like creating content. It's like you just do the typical reality TV trash kind of talk stuff to generate conflict, and it works because people are emotional, they're instinctual, right? But that's not my kind of. I'm too old for that shit. Yeah, I would hate that stuff, man.
Because I've seen like people are waiting for something to happen to jump on the trend and share their ideas negatively in a sense, because that attracts people, right?
Yeah, some people thrive in that atmosphere. I'm not one of those people, man. Like I can't deal with that shit.
Because you get a lot of hate too.
Yeah.
You get
You have
an
to be able to
insane
take that
amount
hate.
of hate.
Yeah,
You have to take
he
that
was talking about the dark side, right? And also, what do you think about the cancel culture?
Cancel culture is interesting. It's a new phenomena, and I think it was inevitable. If you look at like what's happening is the world used to be a small town, like a little medieval cities and different cultures that never mixed before, and then it got globalized through television networks that was very strict and adhered to like good moral values and whatever. And then as the internet became the norm, the small town, the big town connected even more, but then became a small town in that everyone had to like go into their own tribes. So everyone kind of joined, because also we're living in a very free world with a lot of like, very comfortable actually, especially in the West. A lot of people are comfortable, so they have to think about fighting for a cause that is not necessarily important.
Exactly, I truly agree with that.
A lot of people need to feel like they belong to
out of
something.
boredom sometimes.
Yeah, and there's a lot of it's like first world problems, right?
Yeah.
People need to feel they're in this tribe, they have to fight for something, and a lot of people are creating problems that aren't even existing. When there's real problems out there, people are starving in a lot of poor countries. We live in the Philippines, there's lots of problems here, there's lots of problems
They
all
don't
over the
have
world.
time to create this problem.
Exactly. But in the West, they're fighting each other for no reason other than they're just they're barking and the other people are barking, and then they're just going to fight. And that's actually one of the biggest problems I see in this modern world, is the division between people for no reason, you know. But when you communicate with these people in real life, they're good people. Everyone's cool,
Yeah.
whatever side. I've never had a problem with anyone.
Yes.
In real life, it's all in the internet. It's
But
fake.
on the internet,
Yeah.
it's different.
Yeah.
Exactly.
it's different.
It's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Keyboard warriors.
Keyword warriors, yeah. So cancel culture is interesting, but also cancel culture can be also manipulated. It's like it's just a narrative that's on base level. There's more nuance and depth to actual problems and things that happen than you could ever imagine. So if you just come to a conclusion straight away, which we're all guilty of as well,
Right.
you know, then you know, someone can get into trouble for something that isn't necessarily that big a deal. Or if it is a big deal, they will learn it, but the level of loss that they can get from their job and their career and their family and their life is too much.
Yeah.
You know?
But isn't it also some of it partly the fault of the algorithm? Like, okay, let's say I get into this thought pattern and then I look into some content.
Yes.
And then the content is not necessarily true and it doesn't serve a great purpose.
Exactly.
But then the algorithm keeps putting that
Yeah.
kind of content
No,
in
that's
front of
100%
me.
true.
And if I am not somebody who's at this stage of my life, if I'm 17 years old
Yeah.
or 15 years old,
Yeah.
and I keep seeing the same content, then I have this very strong conviction that what I think is right.
Is right.
Yeah,
And I'm going
yeah.
to fight for it.
And then when
That's
they
what
search on
happened,
Google,
yeah.
they'll
Yeah.
just reinforce their beliefs. Yeah, it's an echo chamber.
Yeah.
That I think that's actually one of the reasons why there's so much conflict now in the world. Like if you look at like the way that it's so funny when you look at Facebook CEOs and they're a lot of these people and these programmers never expected it to go the way they've done. It's like they created Frankenstein and they don't know what to do with it. In the search for income and money and advertising revenue, their algorithm has created a unfortunate byproduct of what they've done. You've seen the Cambridge Analytica scandal, right? That documentary
No.
on Netflix. It's really good. So the Cambridge Analytica scandal is about. Watch it on Netflix. It's amazing. I recommend it. But basically, it's about this. It's not conspiracy crap either. I'm not one of those people who believes in conspiracies, but I do believe in the evolution of like social psychology and how shit works. So the Cambridge Analytica scandal was a political scandal in 2016. Where Cambridge Analytica sold data from Facebook to governments, like the Russian government and all these governments, based on U.S. voter preferences. And how they got them was through an advertisement on Facebook that had the 7 key personality tests, which is a psychologically proven test that showcases that you can kind of get an idea of what's this person's desires, impulses, and whatnot. So they were able to kind of like push Facebook ads on election campaigns to these viewers in order to sway the swing voters into voting Republican or Democrat.
Yeah.
So the craziest thing about that is like now democracy is almost flawed, because this is a true democracy if someone can get sold an algorithm and sold a narrative through the algorithm. It's scary. It's a scary world. So yes, the algorithm definitely enhances, can make or break anything. Yeah.
And now there's AI. Let's talk about AI.
AI is scary because what I just said was humans creating this, right? Now imagine AI which can do it instantaneously and make a really more in-depth narrative.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, like step by step. You don't need like 3 minds coming together, strategizing. Okay, how are we gonna push this narrative into the minds of the people? Now, AI, you just ask a question.
No, it takes
or
30
it
seconds.
does it by itself.
Yeah.
Imagine if it does it by itself in a few years.
It's fascinating. Like, do you ever watch Wall-E?
Yeah.
You know that show where everyone's just like they're looking, where blue? Oh, blue.
Yeah.
And then like they're just in their thing eating, and I'm kind of seeing that like on a day-to-day basis. Order your Grab, watch your Netflix, do this, buy this new shoe. You know, it's like it's getting faster and faster. It's really crazy. And when AI comes into the picture, holy crap, it's going to speed up everything. Because I mean, the rate of change we've already experienced is fast. AI just came in.
Yeah.
5 years, we're going to see a different world.
What do you think how AI is going to affect the content creators?
For a lot of content creators, it's going to be hard, especially, bloggers, but then they've kind of been gone as well. For me, though, I don't really, I think if you think of it as an art, Okay, there's two answers to this. If you're like a regular content creator producing content, you should be in on it anyway to understand what is happening. If you're savvy and you research and evaluate all of these new tools, then you can use them as your advantage. So for content creators, it actually is better for them. But if you're behind and you don't know it, you can get left behind as well with the new revolution coming out. But in terms of like video creation and things like that, it's kind of like AI art, right? A lot of AI artists are going mad about it, but ultimately it's like it'll never replace real art, right? The same way you're not going to go to the Louvre and buy a Torpilin print of something, even though that's pretty advanced and it did it really fast. You'd rather an actual Da Vinci, not a copy of a Da Vinci, right? So I feel like humans inherently want like intrinsic things. I mean, hence the reason why art and there's a cost of things. There's luxury goods, there's different value of goods. In terms of storytelling and structure, I think that storytelling will never, it could be pushed to an AI eventually, but there'll always be something inherently human so far that people will know. And because of that, I don't think there's any danger to storytelling if you really are into it. But yeah, for like basic structured vlogs, it's actually an aid. I think of it more like a calculator, you know, or like when the tractor came out, as Gary Vee said. It's like people were like, "Oh my God, it's going to take our jobs," but it
so
just
like a tool you can
it.
use.
It's a tool
to boost your skills.
To boost your skills and whatever you. Yeah, it's like when the calculator came out. I mean, that didn't change. It didn't take too much. If you use it, it's an advantage. You can use it to your advantage. So that's the way I see AI now. But I do see it taking a lot of jobs in the future. But then again, I'm not an expert in this, so I don't really completely know about it. But it's interesting times we live in. That's for
good.
Sure.
It's helpful. Thank you, AI.
Thank you, ChatGPT.
Thank you so much, ChatGPT.
Dude, it's so good because like I have my problem with is like sometimes I like think too fast and like I can't articulate or like come up with like ideas because I kind of like got ADHD. So when I like try to like make a video or something, I'm like, okay, I want to talk about this, then I want to add this, then I want to add this to it and this, and it's like my brain is like a cluster mess of like, you know. But then when you use ChatGPT, it kind of breaks it down. So it's like having a wise colleague to give you advice.
And writing everything down for you.
Yeah, it's like an advisor. ChatGPT, I'm depressed. What should I do? But it's really good. I really like it. It can
I wonder
be
what ChatGPT's answer to that question would be. I'm depressed. What should I do?
Oh, it's so funny, man. Like I've asked it like things like, how can I optimize my day in this way? It's like, well, you can optimize your day if you do this in the morning, do this. It really does a good job of giving you advice.
Yeah. And if you want to get into fitness, now, how about coaches nowadays? Like the ones who are selling online programs.
They should go on it because I tried once. I was like 1 week program.
Yeah.
I want
so
like 3,000 calories a day and gives you a program.
Yeah.
And when I check it, I'm like,
it's accurate.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Yeah. I think ChatGPT just goes through all of the best advice, like, and then just like spits it out as efficient as possible for you, tailor made for you. I mean, it'll definitely change a lot of jobs.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
How do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
That was exactly what I was going to ask.
In the content creation industry.
Thinks the same. In terms of, I've been asked this many years before as well. Do you see yourself vlogging in the future? And I always say to myself, I mean, I've been doing video for years now. And the thing is, I actually loved video. I just love making videos in itself. So I'll always be making videos, whether it be for YouTube or in general. That's something that I consider myself doing a lot in future. But for now, it's like I want to also. There has to be some sort of exit strategy for just being on YouTube. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, of course. And my plan is through the attention that I get on YouTube or the marketing, essentially, I want to create a viable and a good product in the Philippines, something that I can attach to my brand. But that takes years to develop because I want something legit that actually my viewers can benefit from or can do something good, you know. So I don't want to just sell merch. I've never sold merch. I've never sold random things, and I could have. I have many opportunities to do that. I never wanted to do that because I wanted to create something really good
that you believe in.
That I believe in. Yeah. So that's what I want to work on in the future. But also, you know, I could have went into production years ago, but I found that was too much work. I just like creating content for myself for now, but eventually deviating into business and content and other things, I think it's the only way forward, I guess. So maybe there in 5 years.
Maybe teach people how to
you could
edit videos like you do.
teaching people is weird because as I said, I got a like ADHD kind of brain, so it's like I don't know where to start. You know what I mean?
ChatGPT will lay it out for you.
Give me a breakdown of a good course. that I can put
Guys, his course is $1,000.
That's another thing. Is I don't want to do like if I have people message me, right? Like random people, like, how do I do this? And I just tell them. You know, I never wanted to make a course. So I was like, I just give it to them for free because it's like value. But like, I understand you can make money on that value, but for those things, it's like you're just helping your community. There's no, I mean, I understand the business element of it, but I never wanted to like sell a course because I wouldn't feel right, you know, because I'm learning just like anyone else is. I'm not an expert by my what I believe in, right? There's always something better or worse. It's like, let's just learn together. That was my approach to creating. But yeah, trying to teach, I don't know. I mean, I help a lot of YouTubers out and I'll give them advice. And yeah.
Because the way I see it from my perspective, which like I don't know anything about video editing and content creation, right? I would really easily pay you just to teach me.
Yeah.
Because I want to learn from the best. Right.
Yeah.
And of course, if I message you, then I get shy. I'm like, okay, should I ask him again?
Yeah. I don't know who to start because also I use different softwares than most people, so it's hard to teach on like the software side of things. I also use Blender, which is like 3D software too sometimes. So it's like, how do I explain someone that uses Blender when I'm learning myself?
And it's also a lot of work, right? If you want to put it all together and teach
things like story structure. I mean, I think that's something that I actually think that there's a market out there for it because Neistat was the first person to invent that because he was a real filmmaker. He did the HBO documentary series, the Neistat Brothers, right? And he introduced, actually, if you watch the Neistat Brothers, that's a good learning tutorial for how to make a vlog, a good vlog. Neistat created the story structure and filmmaking, directing techniques and put it into vlogs. And he's the first person to do that. And no one else has really copied
I used to watch his vlogs because it was so fluid in the way he told the story. And even though it wasn't that interesting,
because
he made it look very interesting.
That's a masterclass in how to make a story structure in that medium. I mean, again, like everything has been an evolution, right? Like when cinema first came out, you know, you had Charlie Chaplin doing silent movies. They were more theatrical and eccentric in order to portray that kind of feeling, right? So when you look at like content creation now, we're still in infancy stages. You know, you're talking about, if you break it down into, you know, the foundation, it's really just storytelling and videos, which can be the same as movies or whatever, but the platform is YouTube and it's an individual as opposed to a production team. So with that, if you don't think about following the structure of a vlog based on vloggers or whatever, just think about how can you storytell and make videos efficiently as an independent person in something that you love to do, right? So there's definitely a whole realm of especially now with AI, you don't need a team anymore. There's a whole realm of possibilities for individual content creators to like really innovate. And it'll never end because storytelling has never ended. It's been happening since we've been around fires in the caveman era.
It's true.
You know?
True story. So will we see Daniel Marsh on TikTok?
I'm not very good at dancing. I'm actually on TikTok. I think I got like 9,000 followers or something.
That's good.
I've only got like 6 videos, but yeah, you're going to see me on TikTok. I'm just going to repurpose my reels for TikTok. It's a necessary evolution, I guess.
So what is success for you right now?
Success for me, I mean, everyone's this is another thing. It's like a lot of people have this definition of success. I grew up in Ireland in the 90s as a kid, right? And Ireland in the 90s was very underdeveloped compared to, say, America or the West. And the definition of success in Ireland was you've got a home, you have food, you know, you have a family and a car, and you're happy. And you live together, and then you're, you know, that basic life, right? So for my definition of success is, are you happy with the projects in life that you're doing? And are you happy with your friends and family around you? Right? So can you maintain your lifestyle with your friends and family and continue being happy in the projects that you want to do? Because that's all we are. We are people who need social connections and we need to work in something. We need to keep moving forward. And if you can do those things, then I consider yourself successful. Of course, there's an element of money because we live in a capitalist society. But I don't care if it's like $1 million, $2 million. I don't care about that monetary aspect of it. I just want to like make enough to live the way I want to live. And that's my definition of success. Because too many people want that $1 million, that $5 million. They want that big bucks. But like, what is it? I think the majority of income of the average American citizen is what, like $24,000 a year or something like that.
Around
50, yeah.
50,000, yeah,
So
US dollars
if
a year.
you are earning more than $400,000
You're
a year
over, yeah,
in
that's
America,
yeah,
you're on the 1%.
you're in the 5% or 1%.
1%, yeah.
And that's incredible. But people don't even consider 400,000 a lot of money. To me, that's like successful for
Yeah.
living a good life,
Yeah.
especially here in the Philippines. Now, if you make more than that, that's amazing. So, but what I'm trying to say is this dream of attaining this money, amongst everything else, tends to like make people kind of spend and do all these crazy. I don't know. I just want to live my
I
life.
guess
the way
it
I do.
blinds people to the other areas of life that are important.
Yeah.
Some people, because they get so laser focused on the money part,
Yes.
and they forget other things that matter.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
let's say their parents, their friends.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
All
yeah.
these things that can go out of picture because they're just so focused on that prize. the money.
100%. Yeah.
And greed, of course.
Greed, yeah. And then like you have
Everyone can get greedy.
you have these kids now, they're like 17, 18, they have to hustle and work and try to like get the new Yeezys and look the coolest and, you know, be the rich guy.
That's
Trying
the
to-
effect of TikTok.
yeah. They want the Dan Bilzerian lifestyle
Yeah,
without
yeah.
realizing the repercussions of it, you know?
I don't think it's bad. I
Yeah.
mean, if you
Of course.
have
I-
Lambos and Ferraris,
You know, like for
and-
that age, it's really good because
yeah.
you will get to do something,
Yeah.
right? Because 17, I wasn't even thinking of.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, okay, of course, if you see a Lamborghini, if you see a Rolex, those things are awesome. They're
Yeah.
great. But that's life, right? They're cool. But it's like just that is your single-minded focus at that young age. You know, you're just giving into your base level instincts. It's like, you know, the real true test of a person to actually succeed in this world is kind of like stoicism and taking in the pain and the shit that'll
Yes,
come. Because
exactly,
no one's a millionaire overnight. Everyone has to work their fucking ass
That's
off.
true.
And you see these crypto people trying to be rich and then they get a few bit of money out of luck. It's may as well be gambling. And then they lose it. And then it's like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, you have to go through trial and error to succeed. And through that trial and error comes wisdom. And then it's just, it's not something that you should just focus on entirely. There's a whole level of difficulty there, like Elden Ring. It's tough.
So you talked about stoicism.
Stoicism, yeah.
Stoicism. Yeah, stoicism. Okay. Forgive my English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No worries.
Let's talk about that. How did that affect your life or that kind of mindset? Because you said you were very much focused on the hustle part, right? And then during the pandemic, something shifted.
Yeah, 100%. I think the pandemic was, and this is probably cliche, and everyone said this, but it was definitely an integral part of my life. The pandemic, it helped me find myself. But no, the pandemic was horrible, just hell. It was horrible. It was the worst thing that ever happened. One of the worst things that ever happened because it was like everyone as a collective suffered together, and you know, I think that it kept going, right? They say, oh, we're going to open up, and then it wouldn't open
Especially
up.
here, it went for almost
It was
2 years.
crazy.
Yeah, it's
You
like
couldn't
teasing the
even
carrot.
go outside for a run.
Yeah. It was like teasing the carrot and then
Yeah.
throwing it away.
Yeah.
It was like, just fucking tell me if I can stay here or not, right? So the pandemic really opened our eyes to a different world. It also made my addiction to the internet more and more intense because I got used to spending days being mindlessly numbed by
scrolling,
meaningless
yeah.
entertainment, which before I would never have done. And it took me a few years to get, like 2022 even, it took me a while to get off that addiction of just like mindlessly watching Netflix for hours and stuff like that. But yeah, stoicism in what I was saying is I'm not a very stoic person personally. I'm a very emotionally exaggerative person because I'm Irish and I'm also very energetic sometimes. So if I'm on a mountain, I'll be like, fuck, Jesus Christ. Fuck, shit, fuck. But what I mean by stoicism is just like in life, you're going to go through fucked up things. You're going to go through hardship to do anything. And you learn from them, right? And through that learning, you kind of realize the importance and value of real things in life. Sometimes you think this is the thing that's the gold diamond that you're going to look for in life, but then really it was all beside you all along. It's so cliche, but it's true. Yeah, it's all about the things you learn along the way. So,
Have you ever been depressed in life?
Oh yeah, I used to suffer from depression when I was a teenager. I used to have to take Prozac and stuff like that. But I honestly don't know if that was actually depression, because back then in Ireland, you know, a psychologist would look at you and just give you pills.
Just give you,
Just
right?
tell you
Yeah.
you're depressed.
But how did you overcome it? Then? Do you remember?
Yeah, 16 I was. I overcame it probably through just, I think I was just a teenager.
Mm.
Yeah,
You know?
going through the
Yeah.
motions.
Teenagers are all
Yeah.
depressed or weird. We're all
Hormones.
fucking idiots.
There's something
Yeah.
that's not right.
And then
Yeah.
some stupid psychologist who reads a book all the time in the 90s or the 2000s just goes, he's depressed, give him Prozac. Because back then they just gave you pills for everything.
Yeah.
So I don't think I had depression. Not saying that it isn't real. Of course, serotonin levels dip and people need to take medication. But I don't know. I've had times where I'm sad in life. I had times where I'm happy. I don't think you have to be happy all the time. That's another thing that everyone has
Exactly,
to
yeah.
chase.
Totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like if you're running a marathon or if you're working out in the gym for the first time ever, right? Are you happy? You fucking hate it. Like, this is so boring, and I'm intimidated by all these big guys. I don't want to do the weights and the lifting. But then you like it after, you feel good. And then if you keep going, it becomes addictive.
Yeah.
And that consistent basis of working on this project of building your body and being healthy, it isn't enjoyable in the moment. Running a marathon is fucking hell. It's horrible.
True.
But looking back on it in hindsight, it's good,
Yeah.
right? And I think it's a good analogy for life, because you're not meant to be happy all the time. And we're trying to be sold that if you want to be happy, you have to like wear the new shoes and match
Yeah,
the
do
same
what's-
cars.
yeah.
Especially right now, the whole narrative of you need to be happy.
Yeah.
Everybody has fallen into this narrative that happiness is the only thing that's important. How is that even possible?
Yeah,
like
because
you
we-
talked about the marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to go through pain to experience the happiness in the end, or the pride, or
Genuine
the joy
happiness. Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah.
At some brief moment.
Yeah.
How long does that last? Like
Yeah.
the pride lasts. Okay, I ran a marathon and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
The happiness lasts for how long? I
Yeah.
don't know, 5 minutes, 10
Yeah,
minutes,
yeah,
30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, oh shit, I did a marathon. You tell to your friends, you're proud of it, you post about it and everything. After that, it's done.
Yeah.
And then you have to go through pain again.
Yeah.
Train and everything.
And actually, I think physical fitness and the journey of bettering oneself in that way is actually the perfect analogy for life, because like you're not meant to be happy like doing things. It's supposed to be tough, and then when you get and achieve your goal, you end up with long-term contentment, and sometimes that's better than just being happy. Base level instincts, you know, you can be happy. I'm happy going out getting drunk. I'm happy physically, but you know, you're gonna feel like crap after, right? Base level instincts aren't a thing. Instant gratification, delaying that to succeed can better you in the long run to contentment, right? And having good people around you, friends and family. I think that's vital, and that's what I love about the Philippines. Like here, family is so important, and that to me is like very important. Family and friends.
Yeah.
You know,
Relationships can really
Yeah.
destroy you.
Yeah.
If you have like bad friends or
Yeah.
a bad circle that you're not fully aware of,
Yeah.
because sometimes you're
Yeah,
not
you will
aware
never
of it.
know.
Yeah.
You won't even know.
And
right?
Most
then you
of the
find
time
out-
for us, it was
yeah,
like,
find out at some point,
Yeah.
right? That can really put you in a bad place in life.
Yeah, and it can also put you down the wrong track. Like, you don't know if you have bad friends, you don't know if they're bad influences. No one can tell you because they're your circle, right? So it really takes a while to get out of that mind frame. And even like, that's why, as I said, like when I leave for another country or I get outside my bubble and see, that's why I like traveling. Because when you leave for a couple of months or a couple of days, and you get to see someone else's life, someone else's perspective, and you see from their side how life is like, and you go, oh, you know what? Maybe this is a good idea, instead of like, you know, doing it my way. I feel like being constantly open for new experiences is a good way for self-development, because you're not fixed in your ways. Being fixed in your ways and being half, I guess we're all the same. We come from multiple cultures, right? And I guess we naturally had that inclination towards, you know, being open anyway. But a lot of people aren't like that. A lot of people are really fixed in their ways. They believe in their tribe and no one else. And that's kind of a dangerous way of thinking. And it can be self-detrimental in the long run,
Yeah.
you know?
It's how societies get destroyed.
Yeah.
Countries.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. The
when you're
division.
so fixated on something.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's an interesting world, my friend.
It's an interesting world. So, let's talk about...
Okay, let's last question, or let's see how we go. What can you give us like 3 advice for the young generation who want to follow your footstep or in any industry?
this is kind of funny because I feel like it's imposter syndrome when I talk about stuff like follow my footsteps.
No,
But
in general,
yeah, no, in general, the advice I could give to someone younger is to have a lot of patience. It's been said a lot of times, but I don't know, there's this feeling that in your 20s, you just got to have fun and explore and try new things and be constantly open to like different people's perspectives. As I said before, don't be fixated in your own beliefs. Know that you'll be, and also know that the person you are now is going to be a whole different person in 10 years. You're not going to be the same person. And just be open to trying everything, because that's the whole point of your 20s, is to like experiment and learn who you are. And then your 30s is to kind of fix it and solve it and structure your life, you know. Have fun and don't be stressed about stuff too much, because a lot of us tend to feel that we have to be successful straight away, and that's not true, because a lot of people who pretend they're successful. Everyone, not like real businessmen, the really, really rich people, you know, they probably took years to get to where they are, or is inherited. But like, if you're a really rich person who like got themselves in a level, you worked your ass off. You don't see the hard stuff.
We came across like few people who are really rich. Took them like 20 years.
It takes decades.
15,
Decades,
20,
yeah. So remember, there's no get rich quick scheme, and if there is, it's probably bad for you.
Yeah, if it's too good to be true, it's not true.
Yeah. So
On the internet, on TikTok, if anything is too good to be true, it's not true. Don't waste your money.
Yeah, and definitely have patience. And in terms of content creation, if you want to be a content creator, if you want to make videos, which I think is a fantastic opportunity to network and also to grow yourself, don't just worry about like competing with the people that are doing this. Like, for example, if you want to become a fitness influencer, if you want to become a travel vlogger, you know, you don't just have to follow the same format everyone else is following. Of course, you have to like adopt certain elements, like, you know, the thumbnail and title and whatnot, but try to be you, because no one can be you but you. So your little weird quirks and eccentricities, things that you like to do, which you think are boring, could be interesting to other people. So create content that you like for you, and of course apply certain rules and stuff like that YouTube have, but you don't have to follow everyone else's content. You can make your own original stuff if you really research and work hard on it.
I think that's really important. Being the unique you, that's really hard.
Yeah.
For a lot of people to come out of their shell.
Yeah.
And they follow a lot of different guys or girls on social media, and they get inspiration from them. Was there a time in your content creation journey that something shifted and you really embraced you and who you are and your own creative side, where everything else was totally shut off, and then everything is inspired from within and comes from you?
I think the pandemic definitely helped, because it gave me time to think about my content and how I want to go forward with it, because I felt hollow inside when you're just creating, and you could get the views. I mean, if I wanted to do daily and do the same thing everyone else did, which is like, you know, the shock factor, the drama, all of that stuff, I could get lots of views and I could have made a lot of money out of it. But I don't feel right inside, you know. It's not me, and I love doing content. I think to look inwards, I was like, you know what, I'm not content with it, so I want to do something that I like, that's good for me. So I think if you're creating content, I think a good idea would be to like always reevaluate your stuff. Always reevaluate not just your own brand from a marketing and business perspective, but reevaluate how you're personally going forward. And also look at your own health, your mental health, your physical health. A lot of people overlook that in favor of the content or the work, when you should be balancing both. So yeah, definitely the pandemic helped me to look inwards and say, you know what, I want to create stuff that I like, and I want to go forward with this.
I think what he just said was so important, because personal analysis is like cracking a code, right, to progress. So if you really focus on where you want to go and gain clarity, that's the key.
Yeah. You have to evaluate yourself all the time, because you always have to ask, am I doing this right? Am I being a dickhead? Am I an idiot? Or am I, is this okay? You always have to ask these questions, because you got to look at yourself from the outside in, like a helicopter view. You know, ultimately you're playing your own character in a video game. It's like The Sims. And, You know, are you optimizing yourself? Are you doing the right decisions? Was the way I reacted right or wrong? You know, you have to like, and also like that's one other thing actually. If you notice, like I think not morals per se, but like a good set of discipline values. That's why being a good parent is important. I really have a lot of discipline from what my father taught me, my family. My mom and dad were very close, and we were such a tight family. And my dad taught me a lot of discipline and values he used to be in the military, and my dad now is like my best friend. I call him every day and all of that. And everything that I do in my life is based on what he taught me from the start, you know? So it's important if you have kids anyway. Well, not that I have one.
It's true, like fathers make the boys men.
Yeah. So I do believe that like valuing your family is important, and the rules that they set for you and things like that. So yeah, I do believe that's important.
One more question.
Yeah.
How do you deal with the critics? Like the negative comments, how do you shut those off? Or do you take it in, analyze it? What do you do with it?
Well, I'm lucky that there isn't that many negative comments for me mostly. I've never really had too much. But of course you do get them. And I don't think you can do anything. Like it depends on like, that's another thing if you're a content creator is no matter how, like the bigger you get, the more chances of negative comments. There's also people that are just doing it just to seek, to rile you up.
Negative, right?
Yeah. Ironically, I think the YouTube studio now is actually built in a way that's really nice psychologically. Like it'll even say, like if your views are going up, it'll say, congratulations, your video is doing good. It's based on the algorithm. So it'll actually like psychologically ease you. And then there's just a comment section that you can filter out easy. If you're reading comments on your YouTube browser, it's kind of different, right? Yeah. Like if you see a negative comment, you take it more personally. But if you just see it and like there's nothing to do with the video, it's just in the comments studio, I feel like it's a little bit easier to take because you can just delete or block. I mean, if there's criticism, that's fine because everyone can be critical and they're right. You know, perhaps there's a different way to do things. But if it's just a troll, you know that ultimately they don't know what they're saying and they don't mean it. And it's like life, right? I mean, no matter what you do in life, there's going to be someone that's a dickhead to you at that particular time, and
you can just laugh about it.
Yeah. And you gotta like, do you really let this person affect you and affect your decision making, or are you just gonna stick to your goals? And because there's a lot of idiots out there. I mean, you can't let them. Oh, there's a good quote. If you stop at every dog, I think it's Winston Churchill. On the road in life, if you stop at every dog that barks, you'll never get to your destination, right? So I think that's a good analogy.
True.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question for me. What is greatness to you?
What is greatness?
Greatness, Daniel Marsh.
Greatness. It's hard, isn't it? How humans like value greatness and all these things. But greatness to me is to, well, number one, I guess, leave a legacy in some form behind. Now, that doesn't have to be a big legacy. It could be a garden. It could be the discipline or morals that you instilled upon a child. It could be a video that gets seen a couple of years later. I think greatness is just maximizing and trying to be the best person that you can be, and that's it. And trying to be as nice as you can to everyone else along the way, and trying to constantly learn and be curious like a child. Of course, we could say like, the typical, great athletes who've developed their skills in a specific way. We always like that, and that's really good to attain to, because that makes people constantly be, bettering themselves and like achieving something in their profession. But I just feel like keep working at what you do and do the best that you can do, and eventually you can be great in whatever way you define it.
Nice.
Okay.
Before we end the podcast,
wait. I think this question would be a good one.
Yeah, I don't mind. Keep asking me questions. There's no time limit here. It's cool. I'm enjoying it.
I want to ask, what's the ideal woman for Daniel Marsh?
Yes. I think people are waiting for this.
Be very interested in this.
Well, I actually have a girlfriend at the moment, so she's the ideal woman.
So what are some,
In terms of a relationship, actually, this is ironic because it's funny because we all see like who we think is like, oh, you know what? I want this person and this person's values. But really, I think a good relationship, when I talk to a lot of old people, it's just a person that you're really good friends with at the start. Do you get along? Do you have the same interests? Do you have absolutely great time together? And are you best friends ultimately? Because I think the keys to a successful relationship is long-term partnership. Are they a good partner? And also, you both independently grow together, but independently of each other, and you enhance each other's life and lifestyle. So I think it's when you start crossing into each other's lives, like, oh, you do this and you do that, and that's when conflict arises. Because I've had many relationships like that in the past. But when you're both egging each other on in your own like life, I think that's the best. So long-term partnership and best friends, that's the most important. Ultimately, a relationship is just friendship.
Yeah, and helping each other grow, right?
Helping each other grow.
Each other. Yes.
Yeah.
That's hard to come by.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. It's very tough.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into
Can
deep,
you get into
you know?
more details when you say especially nowadays? What's wrong with women in general nowadays, or what's lacking?
Well, of course, social media has a huge effect on it.
Yeah.
Right? Because girls are mostly attention-based, like in my perspective.
Yeah.
Right? We all like some sort of attention, but guys way less than girls.
Yeah.
So, and also it's not like before. Nowadays, like girls get messages like 5 times a day, 6 times a day.
The Tinder kind of thing is created.
And they have so many options, which is not good in my opinion.
Yeah. And their standards are extremely high. They want you to be I'm not saying this for everyone, but from what I see on the internet now, there's like a standard from both men and women. They want this kind of, he has to have this income, he has to have this kind of like thing, he has to be the Prince Charming essentially, without accepting the flaws as well that come with everything like that. It's a tough world, I guess, but I guess you got to find people in different things. That's why I like doing like running and marathons and getting involved in like groups that you just never could imagine. And then you'll find and meet people that you're like, oh, cool, I never knew this person was here.
It's also hard for them though, because if their standard is high, then the harder it gets for them to find a guy. Right? Because there's the guys that they're looking for, or that perfect image that they have in their mind because of social media.
But they'll never be there.
Doesn't exist much.
It doesn't exist.
Yeah,
There's no
like
Giga
one
Chad.
out of 100 or 1,000.
That's like a 1%, 5% of
the Giga Chad don't exist.
Yeah.
He's a fake profile. Like it's like, you know, oh, I love like you could have a guy that looks great on Instagram, perfect on Instagram, and then in real life he just doesn't match the expectations of the girl because he's got a personality. You know, it's very, very complicated. The internet has changed a lot of things, especially for dating, and I can only imagine how hard it must be for the new kids on the block.
New kids,
you know, these kids who grew up in pandemic for 2 years, so have little, probably affected social communication skills, and then they're going to go into this open world where they only chat through ChatGPT in the future.
AI girlfriend.
AI girlfriend.
Imagine there's like a ChatGPT browser that messages you two people talking to Tinder through an AI. Oh my god. It's like Wall-E, dude. We're going to live in some sci-fi post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah, but going back to the woman, I think you're right. They're more than ever seeking for attention.
It's very true.
In general, the whole population. Let's not corner women.
It's just men and women. Yeah, exactly. Men seek like the perfect girl, and women seek the perfect guy, and then there is none, because it's not about being perfect. It's about imperfections as well. You need slight bumps and bruises to have a good connection. It's kind of sad actually that's taking over. Yeah.
Okay, guys, I think that's it. Let's leave it on a high note.
Yes.
Where can they find you? Where can they find you?
If you can find me on my YouTube channel, Daniel Marsh. I would really appreciate if you guys could subscribe or have a gander at my content. I like to try to make different creative content, I would like to say, and I do my best to really make it special. And also on Instagram, you can check me out at Daniel C. Marsh and follow me there. And yun, salamat po sa inyong lahat para sa imong tanaw or view, listening, whatever you guys are doing. And yes.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
We'll catch you guys in the next one.